And are we live? I think we're live.
I think we're live.
Are we live?
We're live.
We're
Hello.
live. Hey, what's
hello.
up?
Hello. Hello, and welcome to IGN's Up at Noon, your weekly variety comedy news show hosted by myself, Brian Altano, and my best friend, Max Scoville. And good tidings to you. Today is a very splendid day. It is a PlayStation 5 launch day. Hopefully, this is not the first time you're learning this information, because that'd be weird.
Let's just get this out of the way. This is a wonderful week, regardless of what you're playing on. It's a good week for video games, because even if you're not playing on Xbox or PS5, there are a ton of games coming out. Like it is the second week of November is without a doubt usually almost always the biggest video game week of the year. So
Yes.
it's exciting. We should just games are good. Everyone should be happy about the games.
Games are good. Don't fight. We got the Series X just 2 days ago, and we got the PS5 today, and the Series S. No disrespect to that little friend. Next gen's here. We are officially in the dawn of a new generation, which is awesome. It feels like we've been building up towards this for years. Games are better looking than ever. Games are also bigger than ever. And so we are all kind of wondering, how is this generation going to sort of pan out, right? Obviously, we can't call right now which console manufacturer will sell more, because it seems like they're sort of playing different long games here. It seems like the buzz around the PS5 is big, and Xbox announced today that this is their biggest launch in history. So I'm not sure exactly where this is all going to go, but we're doing our best. We're noticing that the stream quality is a little funky today. It's a little pixelated. We're actually streaming today's episode through a Nintendo DSi. We thought we'd throw a little bit of love to Nintendo. This has been a big week, obviously, for PlayStation and Xbox. And, the DSi, really, it was the first internet-capable Nintendo DS, first internet-capable Nintendo handheld, period.
It's easy to get sidetracked and focus on the PS5 today, but really, let's just take a minute and talk about the DSi. I think that's a good thing to talk about.
That's right. The DSi was a classic. It's really a beautiful little system. You could go on the internet. You could download certain apps. You spend a couple bucks here and there. It had a bunch of really great games I think children all over the world will enjoy. So check out the Nintendo DSi.
Okay, so let's talk about the PlayStation 5 and its hard drive situation. The hard drive is probably the biggest selling point for the PS5, aside from it looking like a weird futuristic Sauron's Tower, or the fact that it's got weird rumbly things going on for it. The hard drive is a brand new proprietary thing that Sony developed. It is blazing fast. It's very cool. However, in terms of storage, it is also kind of a step backwards, because it's very rare to see a next gen console come out that has like a lower number than the previous one. Like,
that's right. Yeah. And so the PlayStation 4 Pro had a terabyte of storage space. I believe you could get a 2 terabyte option on that for certain SKUs. But we've been watching this for a while now. This is going to be a problem across the board, and it seems like it already is. For example, let's get into the basics of it here. The Xbox Series X is 1 terabyte out the box. The operating system takes 198 gigabytes, which leaves you with 802 gigabytes of space. The PS5 is 825 gigabytes, which is a weird number, right? Like right off the bat, you're looking at 175 gig less.
It must be special. It's a strange number. That's
I don't know what
it's like metric gigabytes. Like, what's going on there?
What is the exact logic behind that number? It is so odd. And the OS takes 158 gigs, which leaves you with 667 gigs, which we knew, right?
Right. Yeah. But there's also this mystery. There's a mystery category. I pulled up. So I got a PS4 that was sent to Lucy O'Brien for IGN review stuff, and PS5. I do have a PS4 too, but so I've had a PS5 for about a week. It showed up. It had a few things installed on it. I've been like checking out the PlayStation 5, the PlayStation Plus collection, downloading a bunch of things, seeing how fast they load, and doing all that, and installing a handful of new games. And like, I'm not complaining about this. It's cool to have a brand new system, but at the same time, it fills up very quickly. Obviously, the PlayStation Plus collection is a smattering of really good PS4 games that are available for download day one on PS5, with some additional bells and whistles. But if you decide to kind of get ambitious with that and scoop a bunch of them up, they average about between, I would say, 30 and 60 gigs a piece.
Right.
Battlefield 1 with all the DLC is, I think, 78 gigs. So you're going to fill that thing up pretty fast. Spider-Man Miles Morales Ultimate Edition is like, what is it, 109 gigs?
Yeah, so some file sizes for you guys here. Miles Morales Ultimate Edition is 105 gigs, Demon Souls 66 gigs, Godfall 50 gigs. Those are three, I would say three of the bigger games around the PS5 launch. I'm literally in the process of doing a system transfer from my PS4 to my PS5, and it gives you the option of what you want to bring over. And so, of course, I said Bloodborne, Resident Evil 4, one of my favorite games of all time. I threw Watch Dogs Legion in there because I had just started it on PS5 or PS4, and I was like, I'll check out the PS5 upgrades. Just putting a few games over, it said the amount of space I have is 400 gigs, and that's with downloading no new games.
Right.
And so you will actually, and things are a little bit better on the Xbox side, but with the Xbox, you do get that immediate access to Game Pass, which is kind of a candy store, and it is quick. It is pretty easy to go nuts in there. And I kind of purposely filled my system up.
Yeah, I mean, we went kind of bonkers with this, but like, I mean, it is like these are two new systems launching, and they're both, Xbox has Game Pass and Sony has the PlayStation Plus collection. They are encouraging people to download a whole lot of games. They're selling digital only versions of these, which I guess in the Xbox case that's a smaller hard drive, right? That's
the series. Yeah. So let's get into that real quick. The series,
so, I mean,
if you want the Series S, it is 500 gigs, and the OS is a little bit smaller than the Series X one, but that will still leave you with only 364 gigs of space, which is basically Halo Master Chief Collection, Ark Survival Evolved, and a Call of Duty, and maybe like Fusion Frenzy.
We've seen how like Call of Duty will like inflate its file size over time. But yeah, the weird thing on the PS5 is there's this other category here, which I looked at because you got games and apps, you got your media gallery, which also I had that setting turned on where it automatically takes a 15-second video every time you get a trophy, which is a rapid way to chalk up 2 gigs. I should probably get rid of that. And then save data is a bunch of stuff too. But the other thing is really interesting because it's storage space that's reserved for system data needed for games and apps to work properly. And the amount of space reserved depends on how your console is being used. So, I mean, I'm guessing that's for a lot of kind of quick resume stuff and really just letting that hard drive do its thing. And again, it's a really cool, like it's really fast. It's really awesome. But like, it's also a weird kind of quandary because there's no way to expand it on PS5 currently. Like eventually they have said that you can do a USB, extra hard drive on there and you can't really play off of it. And with the Series X, you either have to buy those proprietary Seagate add-on things or, plug in a 3.0 USB thing, which again has to transfer. But like, as far as having all of your games right there in this one box, it seems like that's kind of a shortcoming of this generation.
Yeah, I'm completely with you. I think like the issue right now is not really having like a consumer friendly backup situation where you can run anything directly off of a hard drive without giving Microsoft a ton of money. I think it's like $250 for that little thing, little card. And on PlayStation, you just straight up don't have that option. At least on PlayStation 5. They said it's coming, and so that's awesome. But I think you'll have to basically trade and swap back and forth between the actual PS5 hard drive and the other thing. And so the other thing too that's really interesting is that games, just like the PS4, take up more space to download than they actually are in file size. So if you want to download something that's like 15 gigs and it says you have 30 gigs of space, because that game has to expand when you download it, it might not let you actually do that. And so, yeah, this is, obviously not the biggest problem in the world. There are much bigger problems in the world.
Oh, yeah. But it does quite a few.
Yeah, this is a big year for that. But to launch two systems like this that really are, kind of small in hard drive space right out the gate with games that are only getting bigger, I think it's going to be an issue.
There is one thing that would possibly circumvent that nobody wants to really adopt yet, but seems to be kind of the elephant in the room, is we're seeing the gradual introduction of cloud gaming, which, I mean, if you have like, if you've got a super fast proprietary hard drive and it's expensive to have more space, but your device is built so that it can in the near future probably support streaming gaming.
Yep.
Maybe you want to ship something with the cheaper hard drive. Like that's a thing to consider. But
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, in the meantime, many of you probably have been trying to buy a next gen console this week. The process to getting those has not been easy. A lot of them sort of appeared randomly on websites and then disappeared in a second. They're selling out incredibly quickly. The PS5 is going in and out of stock in various websites. Excuse me. I'm going to take that from the top. I don't know why I just coughed right there.
What was that?
I don't know. I went to go like, and then like, yeah, it's like a hairball. We'll do it right here. Anyway, the PS5 is out now, and many of you have been trying to get one, but that's been increasingly difficult to do because they're sold out everywhere. And just like every console launch, what happens when systems sells out, right? The worst people on earth swoop in and capitalize off of the situation. Now, obviously, this is a scenario that happens all the time. If you're out there and you're scalping and you're making money, you're trying to, get a little scratch on the side because you had a hard year. Like, I'm not going to tell you how to live your life, but I will say this is a very tough year for a lot of people. We are in a recession. A lot of people are financially strapped more than ever, and I know a lot of people have been saving and saving and saving for the specific amount for a PS5 for a very long time, and there are just ghoulish garbage men on eBay right now selling PS5 systems for 3 or 4 times what they're worth.
Yep,
So we thought we would actually let's do a let's play of eBay live right now on the show.
So let's just to make sure it's actually like, fully up to date. Let's just hit PlayStation 5. Here it is in hand, just 12 sold for a basically $1,300 console, which is a bummer. Like it's one thing to see people listing these and hoping to scalp them. It's something else entirely to be like, oh, like, well, nobody's buying them. Yeah. So God, 8 sold for $1,900. That's such a bummer. And I mean, and then you go to, let's just show off the real, the sad thing here. Where is it? I wonder if there's any used ones actually. That'd be weird. Where the hell is it? There's sold.
I will say too, what's fascinating is that on eBay, you see a lot of photos that are like the console box on the floor, but there's also just stock photos of the PS5, which means you're not even guaranteeing that your money is going to the right place because you don't actually see the system in hand.
I like this one. Somebody's selling they sold a PS4 Pro console with 5 games, that came up when you search PS5. But yeah, somebody paid $970 basically for a PS5. It's $1,200. Like it's such a, I mean, it sucks because the PlayStation 5 is out in a number of territories today, but it's not out worldwide, and it was hard enough to get. I mean, this is a literal first world problem, but it's going to be a pain in the ass for people living in other parts of the world who haven't had the chance to properly order these things or see them in stores. And again, it's also a very bad year to physically go into stores or wait in line for things. Like it's such a pain in the ass.
It totally is. I mean, and so like I just searched it myself. The top 2 listings are for $1,899 for the disc version. There are 12 people watching that. They're $1,899 for another one. Actually, this dude undercut that other guy by a penny, which is just like, screw you.
Yeah, that's one of those bot things or whatever.
8 sold on that. 1,699. 32 people watching because that looks like a deal compared to the other 2. I mean, like, it just sucks, man. Like
this is also not just limited to eBay. I think people are doing it on Amazon too.
They're probably doing it on Craigslist and a number of other places. And like it's a free market economy, right? And so like, a fool in his money is not, or easily parted or whatever. There's no real system in place to stop people from doing this. And so you don't blame them. And like some people actually tweeted this thing at us. And I don't want to put him on blast on the show because it's gross. But there was this dude, basically, he said, F your feelings, digital 900, disc 1,100, tap in, which then had a picture of a wall of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's looking like, God, like 25, 26.
That's a literal shipment. And there was a video of like a truck pulling up at his house and delivering that. It's just like, I don't know. Like,
I mean, it grosses me out. This is like I said, it's been a tough year for a lot of people. Video games have been a constant positive for myself, for you, for so many. And this has been a tough console launch in general in terms of not being able to actually go and walk into a store and get one. And so to have these people basically, buy out all the stock, it just sucks. Yeah. Because since September, since these went up for pre-order, I've seen people being like, I tried to get these, but they were sold out. And like now we know why.
Ninja Orange in the chat says, "Oh, I saw they leaked his address. People are gonna raid that person." Don't do that. Like I mean, I honestly, like, I'm not by any means, like consoling people being like, oh, let's dox this guy, but also like
So
to go out there and be like, F your feelings, here's my horde of PlayStations, and then a video of the outside of my house. It's like, just,
yeah,
and
so
then like, here's my full name. It's like, oh, don't, oh, that's not a good
yeah, so
idea.
I'm not condoning anything like that, but I will bring up a short sort of parable, if you will. When the COVID lockdown stuff first started happening in March, there was a gentleman who basically bought just like truckloads of hand sanitizer and hoarded them. And I believe tweeted out a video or a picture or something like that. And there were people who were able to basically, connect the dots and basically find the exact X on the map where the storage facility was, where he was storing them, and they busted him. And so that happens. Like I'm not saying like you should go do that, but I'm saying like karma does exist. And if you're
Yeah.
on Twitter going F your feelings and you're videotaping pictures of the back of your house, like don't be surprised if bad stuff happens. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully anybody who tried to get, who couldn't get a PS5 or Xbox Series X at launch eventually gets their hands on one if they're trying to get one. But if you weren't able to get an Xbox Series X or PS5 at launch, like that kind of might not be the end of the world, because this has been a rough launch, but there's kind of a lot of evidence that like it's not, it doesn't really seem to be the best situation to be an early adopter this time around.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. And so like this has been an interesting console launch in general. Without getting too negative, obviously, this year has put a lot of restrictions on the way we interact with each other and the way we purchase things. And so to do like a quick sort of oral history here, these consoles were revealed respectively, at the end of last year, beginning of the year, a few months in. They had sort of like trickled out news drops. But we know that over the last few weeks and months, that's when the pre-order availability first started happening. Now, PlayStation in September had a sort of presentation, and hours later, just accidentally had a floodgate open of different pre-orders go live. And if you were sleeping, if you were in Europe, you looked away from your phone for 5 minutes because you thought you had enough news for the day, watching the reveal of the system. You missed your big opportunity to get these. Xbox tried to make things a little bit easier. They threw a little shade at Microsoft by saying, hey, tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., you'll be able to get these. Their own website crashed constantly. All the third-party retailers crashed constantly, were constantly sold out. I was sitting there, literally, it took me 2 hours to secure a Series X.
I mean, this reminds me of when people were trying to buy the Wii, but back
Yeah.
then people weren't buying stuff online. That was like driving 3 towns over to go to a Walmart that had one in the back, like this is.
Yeah. And so we've seen a couple of outlets and websites, and even like directly through Sony and Microsoft, give you some opportunities to buy these things. But a week or two ago, Sony and Microsoft both basically said there will not be physical stock in store for these systems. So don't go camp out, don't go wait all night. If you have a pre-ordered pickup, you can get one. And so like, yeah, this console launch, like it's awesome. These consoles are amazing. The games are fun, but like it kind of sucks in the grand scheme of things for anybody who didn't get a pre-order. And I feel like that was a really hard thing to do for most people this year.
No, that's true. And we have sort of statements from the heads of both Sony and Microsoft. Jim Ryan, back on the day the PS5 pre-orders went up, he said the demand is expressed by the level of pre-order has been very, very considerable. And went on to say that Sony pre-sold as many PS5s in the first 12 hours of pre-orders in the US as were sold in the first 12 weeks of pre-orders for the PS4, which is, I think that's just both an indication of how much hype there is, how many more people are gaming, how many more people are stuck at home wanting to pre-order stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's also just like that's a big number regardless. Like that's a substantial improvement. And then on the flip side, Phil Spencer basically said, he tweeted out today, thank you for supporting the largest launch in Xbox history. In 24 hours, more new consoles sold in more countries than ever before. We're working with retail to resupply as quickly as possible. You continue to show us the connected power of play is more important than ever. And then there's also the running theme that, a lot of people are complaining that the launch lineups aren't that huge. There haven't really been any killer apps yet. The fact that so many of, the big launch titles are cross-platform.
Right.
It's kind of an odd thing, but the issue is like if you have, there's like 100 million PS4 players in the wild, and there's like a substantial amount of Xbox One players, and like it would be both it would both be crappy for those people, but also bad business to just completely abandon them out the gate. And though higher ups at Sony have said like we believe in generations, it's clear that there's also going to be kind of like it's kind of be a gradual step up.
Yeah,
And
they did say that there's basically going to be like a 3-year transition period they expect, and that's I don't think that's just for the fans to hop on the PS5, but I think it's also software. Like I think we're going to see a lot of cross-platform software for a while.
yeah, and that's great. I saw somebody in the chat saying that they like, they wanted to jump on next gen for Cyberpunk. Uh, I was totally in that same mindset, and the weird thing is, Cyberpunk doesn't even have like you can't buy next gen Cyberpunk.
Right.
Like you can buy it for PS4 and it'll play better on PS5, or you can buy it on Xbox and it'll be like super souped up on Series X. But they haven't released like the definitive like standalone next gen version of that game. And I mean, they haven't released any version of that game, but like that was kind of like a weird thing. Like that was a game that was shown off alongside the Series X, and it's very easy to kind of conflate those two things as that being a next gen game. But
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, it's weird to think about it. So I
Yeah,
mean,
we actually haven't even seen footage of that version of the game at all, and that's the one that will by far sell the most copies because there are hundreds of millions of consoles out there.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, I guess the moral of the story is like it hopefully everyone who is trying to get their hands on uh, a next gen console can, but if you can't, there's kind of a lot of indications that that's not the end of the world. And if you hang out for a little bit, like they'll iron out some of the bugs. And if you hang out for a little while, or for a good while, like you'll get a cheaper console that has more games on it, which is always a better alternative. And it's like they're not stopping putting out Xbox One and PS4 games for a cool minute. So I
Exactly.
don't
And
know.
so, obviously, this has been a frustrating console launch for people who didn't get a pre order, but keep your head up, keep your chin up, keep playing current gen games because God knows most of those current gen games are the same as the launch games that everyone else is playing on the other platforms. And in the meantime, I guess keep refreshing websites. And I'm sorry it had to be this way, but hopefully it goes smoother next time.
Yeah.
Um, I
Now,
feel
one
like
question.
we're going
Oh,
to say, no, go for it.
I was going to say one question that's been on the top of everybody's minds this console cycle is the big one. How tall is the Xbox Series X in pancakes?
That's right. Our good friend of the show, Andy Lunique, who is one of the most positive forces in the world, which I think we need after like, I don't know, what, 20 something minutes of doom saying about the next gen console launches. Um, our
Yeah,
friend
but
Andy is an amazing chef, amazing cook, always inspires me to cook better and be better. He had basically a question that he put out to Xbox months and months ago about how tall the Series X is in pancakes, and they responded to him like, start cooking them, and we'll find out basically. And so he did that because why not?
yeah, yeah, he put it up. Xbox Series X is officially 19 to 21 pancakes tall. And yeah, as you can see, he baked a lot of pancakes and stacked them all up. And that's yeah. Now
That's
you're
beautiful.
probably gonna get like that. Those look to be buttermilk, but if you try to do like a buckwheat thing, it might completely skew that. But if
I
you're
was
doing
gonna
like a
say
little
like
skinny crepe thing, it's gonna be
his
a way different number. But
his measurement of pancakes is like I think it's different than if like you or I were to make them because I think he's getting in there. He's just like he's making an amazing batter. Like look how thick and fluffy those pancakes are. Mine come out like kind of sad and flat. I make paleo pancakes sometimes that just look like brown pieces of paper. Like this is beautiful. This is the way to go.
yeah,
Like
so
God,
yeah,
now I'm hungry. Now I want pancakes for dinner.
shout out to Andy for doing this. I love all the weird stuff people have been doing this. We talked earlier this week about like how people were blowing vape smoke into the Series X to make it look like smoke was coming out.
Yep.
Somebody they didn't even Photoshop it. Somebody rigged up like a weird apparatus to make it look like a ping pong ball was hovering above the vent. I hope people start doing weird stuff like that with the PS5 now that it's
Yeah.
out in the wild. It's honestly it's so stupid. Like it's so incredibly just weird and juvenile, but it's weird and juvenile in that way that makes the internet kind of a nice place again. Like I feel like that's the kind of stuff that I grew up like just laughing my ass off at, and it's what
Yeah.
makes the best like TikToks or Vines, like people doing weird water bottle flips and just basically doing like indoor stunts and funny pranks from home, and it's just I don't know. There's something like really charming about that. So
I will say
I'm
too, with the Series X being 21 pancakes tall, the PS5 is the tallest video game console ever made. So I want to see Andy attempt that challenge. What's your guess there? Like 30?
I don't think he would be capable of making a stack of pancakes that tall without it falling over.
Maybe some toothpicks or like he might have to.
I
Yeah,
mean,
he might have to
he'd
fake
have
it.
to cheat. He'd have to jam like bamboo skewers in there, and then you
Yeah,
just. But even then, I think like the pancakes would be structurally unsound. The PS5 is extremely large. I
I'm
like it. I enjoy it's good for playing games, but it's also just like it's a goddamn behemoth. And
I'm
you've
gonna
said this
guess.
a lot, but I
Yeah,
mean, yeah.
I'm gonna guess 27 pancakes. I think that the PS5 is 6 pancakes taller than the Series X.
How many chickens do you think it is?
How many who?
Rotisserie chickens.
Oh, how many rotisserie
You
chickens?
stacked up a bunch of big juicy rotisserie hens
Hmm.
from the
I'm
old
looking at
Boston
so
market. You just get those jammed up there real big and get them piled up,
well, it
piled up.
depends because if the Whole Foods has like the organic ones and they're just like kind of sad and scrawny because they've lived happy lives. But Costco has the ones that have just been like shooting up steroids and working out behind the prison yard. So I would say a PS5, I'm looking at mine right now, is 3.5 Costco rotisserie chickens and 5 Whole Foods rotisserie
I'm
chickens.
glad we got to the bottom of this a very important topic that everyone's
I'd love to
really
get to the
dying to
bottom
know.
of a rotisserie chicken.
Okay, well, it's almost supper time, my big hungry boy, but let's get this last story out of the way. Um, Obviously, Miles Morales is, a character everyone's talking about right now. Spider-Man Miles Morales is one of the flagship PS5 launch titles, and to celebrate this, and obviously also merchandise from it, Hot Toys, the maker of incredibly high-end 1/6 scale action figures, announced a brand new Spider-Man Miles Morales action figure specifically from the video game. I think they've made like a different Miles from the Spider-Verse, but this one is specifically from the game and it's so good. And I want to show you some pictures of it. This thing is $270. I think it's up for pre-order on Sideshow Collectibles website.
Yep.
And let's just look at this. See, so he's got the electricity, the venom powers, not to be confused with the Venom, the symbiote. It's a whole thing.
Mhm.
And then he's got the more electricity you can stick on there, which probably looks awesome if you like hit it with cool lights.
Which, by
And
the way, we've seen that sort of effect. Can you go back real quick? We've seen that effect with like the smaller 6-inch scale figures, especially through the Marvel Legends line over the last few years. And I really love it. But on this level, it's so cool. Like it just takes it up a whole nother notch. I
yeah,
love
I
that
think
so
it also
much.
at that scale probably a little less floppy than you get with the Marvel
Yep.
Legends because that just winds up looking like gummy candies at some point. Uh, Now this is where it really gets good. I love action figures with weird accessories or just
Yep.
like stuff that's kind of like on the silly side. And this is one of the costumes from the game. He gets nice winter gear because it's the game is set around Christmas time, and he's got his little leg warmers and a
Oh my
scarf
God.
and earmuffs and a little hat. And he's
Look at
also got a
his little
isn't it?
socks.
It's so darling. It's
Oh
like
my
you
God.
can't put on socks or boots because you got to climb those walls and do the wall crawling. But uh, it's so adorable. And then it gets better because the spider cat is in there. There's also
Oh my
there's
God.
an
Look at that
accessory
little
of the spider
backpack.
cat. That backpack is really good. I honestly like. Part of me wants to just like put that backpack on other dolls. Like
Yeah, dolls need backpacks to go to school. Oh my
and
God,
then
look at that.
right. Yeah, and yeah, this is just lovely. I'm so happy this kind of stuff exists. And yeah, this is I don't know did it say when this is coming out. Let's see. Let me pull this up right here. So yeah, that's up for pre-order on Sideshow Collectibles. Comes with a bunch of stuff. You see, it's got alternate hands, different
Yep.
types of web. It's got the base. It is $270, and it's oh boy, it is not expected to ship until January 2022 through
What?
March 2022. So it's a ways off. It's gonna be a cool minute.
Oh
Uh,
man.
but that gives you that gives you time to pay off $270, which is just very expensive for a doll. But
That feels like how
they
long
make a good action figure over there.
that's like how long we waited for this game. Like that's
Yeah. No, I feel like we're probably gonna have like a dedicated like Spider-Man 2 at that point. That's gonna be a whole.
you finally got a Hot Toys, right?
I did, yeah. Should I go
You
get
did.
it?
Yeah, go get it.
Okay, I'll go get it.
I'm gonna preface real quick that your wife was texting me asking if you should get the one with the Sarlacc pit, and then
It was my birthday last week.
yeah.
So and I don't have I still need to stack up my bow. I'll go get the doll.
What if I just sat here the whole time and didn't talk to you guys? That would be weird, right? Like if we were just completely silent, I just kind of sat here and just smiled, and I was like, just not really saying anything. It would be so awkward to just sit. But you know what? This is a noisy world, and I do think sometimes we need just a sort of second of silence, just a little bit. Maybe I will talk to myself for a minute. Brian, I want to debate this with you real quick because you bought a Series X and a PS5. Which do you think is better? Because I want to say it's the Series X. Interesting that you say that, Brian. I want to say it's the PS5. You know why? Because the PS5 is 27 pancakes tall and the Series X is only 21 pancakes tall. And that's a big problem. Well, how many pancakes do you really need? I mean, honestly, like that's ridiculous. And how many of those pancakes are exclusive? If you think about it, it's not really the best deal if you're just buying something because it has a lot of pancakes. That doesn't really mean anything. What even is pancakes? Are the developers even taking advantage of
I leave you alone
pancakes?
for 30 seconds. What are you doing? What's going on in here?
Oh, sorry. I was debating myself over the next-gen consoles.
Just talk to the chat, you sick man. The
Oh,
Masters
yeah.
Champion said they really don't read chat, huh? Oh, yeah? Well, where'd I get that information, my friend? Or are you my enemy?
Okay, Mario Madness says stare into the camera. Fine, look.
Anyway, I want to show you my doll, which is what we should have called this show. So this is the vintage color version of Boba Fett. And if you're not as big of a Boba Fett nerd as I am, I will explain what that means. Basically, Boba Fett has two main color schemes in the movies. In Return of the Jedi, he has red wristbands, and in Empire Strikes Back, he has the same color as his armor, which I have a lot of toys of both of those variations because they're very common. What I don't have is toys that are based on his toy appearance. This is a giant version of his original Kenner action figure from 1979, the one that infamously did not come with a launching missile. It just had this weird red rocket thing back here. And so Hot Toys, who's known for making basically incredibly photorealistic action figures that are like super movie accurate replica detail, decided instead of making another movie accurate replica of Boba Fett, they decided to make a realistic looking version of what the original Kenner toy looked like. So this is a toy based on the movie that looks like it was in a movie. So that's there. Thank you for coming to my Fett talk.
And I just want to point out, I sent that to your wife, and I was like, "This is the one that he needs."
You get it, man. You know what we're doing over here.
I know. I have some weird birthday presents to give you, by the way. I can't give them, but I can't do them. I can't do them over here. But yeah, I think that just about wraps us up for today. We had a quota to say Red Rocket at least once, and we did. So we did it. Thank you all so much for watching. This was a blast. Thank you to everybody at IGN, honestly, for covering all the next-gen consoles. It's been insane. It's been one of the busiest busiest weeks.
We were up in front of the camera at 8 o'clock this morning, which I know it's not a hard, long day, but it is. There has been a lot of excitement in the air. And we
were down in the mines.
Yeah, we were mining for game news. No, but if you want more, just something to put on the background where you're messing around, we did a live stream of a bunch of PS5 stuff. Checked out Miles Morales with no spoilers. Jumped around in Spider-Man Remastered. I played a little bit of Demon Souls, which is shockingly easy if you equip the royalty class at day one. I somehow managed to die more times in that stream in Astrobot than I did in Demon Souls, which is a shocker to me. What else do we have going on? Oh God, there's a new show that IGN's doing that's frequently about Mandalorian stuff called Cannon Fodder. Jesse Gill has been writing these incredible deep dives on Star Wars lore, and we've been shooting them at like first thing in the morning. I got to get up early and watch the Mando really fast so nothing gets spoiled, and then I can do this video with him, and then he'll probably put it up at like 4:30 p.m. because he's like an insomniac monster. So go check out Cannon Fodder. Brian, what are you working on?
There's a new episode of Mando tonight. That's right. We are shooting some really cool stuff tomorrow with regards to some toys. So you will see those on Up Noon very soon. We're very excited about that. Let's see what else we got going on.
No wait, what's that? Finally went up. So Yakuza Like a Dragon came out this week, and I still haven't jumped into that because there's a million other things going on. But I did shoot a video called like Yakuza's most outrageous moments from the first 3 games or something. I forget what it's called. Just search like Yakuza IGN. But I got to get all dressed up. We did stuff with a green screen. We had a very good time making that video. Go check it out. I'm very proud of it. We hope to get to do more silly fun stuff now that we've gotten the console watch stuff out of the way.
It is weird. I have like multiple wigs in my studio now. Like that's weird. That's so weird. Yeah. I have multiple wigs and mustaches. It's just weird. But yeah, we wanted to cut things a little bit short today and let you all get back to playing video games or hanging out or doing whatever you do. Happy console launch week. If you didn't get one, Don't worry, they don't matter. Most of the games play on your old systems or on your PC, whatever you want to do. Or, like, I don't know, pirate the entire Nintendo DSi library. Have a great weekend. Who cares? It doesn't matter. Like, it's just have a good time. Most important thing in the world, be safe. We love you. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next week. Au revoir.